ocean. We talk about immigration and enforcement as if we're talking about alien people from Mars and not human beings whose lives and whose families are being torn apart every day. NCLR, which has been referred to as interest group, represents 55 million Latinos in this country. That is not an interest group.
Thank you, Mr. Vargas, because I wanted to ask one more question here of Mr. Case. I'm sure we can talk later, but I really appreciate your answer, and I think people need to think about who they're talking about. Mr. Case, you talked about how, in fact, people don't always see how this can create jobs. I think you said the mistake that opponents of immigration reform make is believing that our society and economic growth are zero-sum. They are not. More talented immigrants joining the American family does not equate to fewer jobs. It equates to more jobs. And there have been many studies, one commissioned by Mayor Bloomberg and Mayor Castro, that showed, I think, 1.8 jobs for every holder of one of these visas that come in. Another one, up to 5 jobs that are created. Could you talk about your personal experience with this?
That's absolutely true. I've invested, not just helped start AOL and create the internet, but then invested in a couple dozen different companies, and many of them started by immigrant entrepreneurs. And so I've seen firsthand the job creation leverage of that. And as I said earlier, it's not just the direct impact of those companies, it's the broader impact. Frankly, when I hear this discussion about immigration, and this morning's discussion was reflective of it, it's usually framed as a problem we need to solve. I think it's an opportunity we need to seize.
Exactly.
And while there is a moral prism aspect, there's a political prism aspect. I look at it through the economic prism aspect. And if we're going to remain the leading economy in the world, and we're going to boost our growth rate from 2% to 5%, which I think is the only way we're going to solve our fiscal problems long term, the talent issue is central, because all the job creation, economic growth comes from these innovative entrepreneurs who are starting companies